There's a new look coming, and it is Miss Peregrine. There's a new look coming, just in time for Halloween. After that cheesy little twist on the original movie soundtrack, I'm ready to start my tutorial. So I've already done my hair Miss Peregrine style. I tried to even emulate the horn, but I'm ridiculously bad with hair, as we all know. So I'm mixing in two foundations, my white and my regular shade, just to pale up my skin, and I'm applying this all over my face and neck area. Next, I want to shape my brows in a very particular way, and for that I'm starting off with my Concrete eyeshadow by MAC as usual. I'm going to brush them down and basically start filling them in from the lower part. What I want to do is eliminate my arch completely and lower them down quite a bit, just because I want to mimic Eva Green's sort of lower eyebrows. And of course I'm intensifying that effect with my trusty gel liner, which I'm going to use to create tiny little brush strokes which are going to mimic hairs. So my eyebrow is going to be significantly lower, which changes the whole face shape quite dramatically, and I'm setting them down with my brow gel. So along with my gray contact lenses, the change is starting to take effect. I'm lining my eyes with the same gel liner. I want the sharpest, most dramatic cat eye possible. So I'm lining the top lash line with a big wing towards the end, and then I'm tight lining my top and bottom lash line, and even creating a tiny little flick on the inside of the eye. To set my black liner into place and add a bit of intensity, I'm using a black eyeshadow, and I'm going over all of my lines with an angled brush and softening them up. I'm mainly doing this on the bottom, but you could also do it at the top if you wanted to. I'm also taking the same black eyeshadow all over my lid, and I've intentionally skipped the use of a primer because I want it to go on not patchy, but almost washed out. I don't want the full black effect. So I'm just building up the darkness towards the outer corner where the black eyeshadow meets the eyeliner flick, and I'm slightly blending it out. Next, I'm applying my mascara mainly on the outside portion of my lashes, and then I'm cleaning everything up with my Collection concealer in Fair, which is the lightest shade it comes in, and since I've paled up my skin, this is going to fit quite nicely. So I really like the balance in this look. I think it's pretty well thought out, because even though this is a dramatic cat eye, which is very elongated and it could very well belong to a glamorous evil witch, for example, I think paired with the lower eyebrows instead of something very strict and arched, it still looks kind in a way, and there's also the natural lip which helps. So next I'm using two MAC eyeshadows, my Charcoal Brown and my Omega, to contour my face and thin it up some more, all in the purpose of mimicking Eva Green's face. I'm also narrowing down my nose a little bit using the same eyeshadows and a narrower fluffy brush, and I'm blending everything out with my foundation brush. Next, for lips, I'm using my Stripdown lip pencil, and what I want to do is I really want to add a lot of length on my top lip. I've noticed that her top lip overlaps the bottom one, so to speak, so I'm really giving a lot of length on the top one, and I'm going in with a second pencil, which is an even cooler brown. It's my Stone by MAC, and I'm just creating this ombre effect around the edges just to give it a bit more of a 3D look and dimension, just so it doesn't look too flat. And I'm also taking it a bit inside the lip, just because I find that this technique helps thin out the lips a little bit as well. Of course, I'm cleaning up everything with a thin brush and concealer around the edges. I want to minimize my bottom lip as much as possible. And that is it for the face makeup, so you could definitely leave it here and add your garments and your regular clothes, but I'm just going to paint mine on. I'm using a combination of water and oil-based colors, and I'm pulling up my strapless top because every time in every video where I paint my chest, I get a comment asking, is she naked? Well, no, I'm not. I'm just applying a thin black layer of my water-based paint all over my chest, and you know, you're going to decide the shape of your garment. and then I'm going over it with a sponge and a bit of my blue from my Kryolan rainbow palette just to give it a bit of dimension. This is the part of the tutorial where I'm going off my inspiration pictures quite a bit, so I'm not following the actual costume of Miss Peregrine because that one had shoulder pads and some embellishment in the form of feathers on the edges of the sleeves, and that's not going to show up if we're going to be looking at this look from the front. So I made up my own costume, and what I'm doing right now is just adding some white with my sponge and then with a thin brush just to embellish the costume as much as I feel like. So in order to incorporate the bird element into her costume and give a hint as to the fact that she can transform herself into a lovely flying creature, I just thought I would create a brooch. So I'm working with oil-based colors and I'm using just some white, green, orange for the feather-like things that I'm doing right here, some black for some gravity and some dimension, which I'm applying on the bottom of my brooch just to make it look as though it's resting on top of my entire costume and it has some, you know, gravity to it and it's sort of protruding in a way, if that makes sense. I hope it does. And I'm adding some more embellishment in the form of some white dots, which I find give a very nice fairy-like vibe to the whole look. And of course I'm adding some brown eyeshadow just to give, again, gravity, but on the skin portion of the costume. I'm doing it more so on the bottom than the top. Some more dots, and eventually I'm just going to surround my entire costume with the same brown eyeshadow I used for the bottom of the brooch and for my contouring basically. And just because that made the look a little messy, I'm just going over the edges with some more white. And that completes the finished Miss Peregrine look with her made up painted costume. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it and what you thought of it in the comments below, and if you would be likely to use this tutorial to dress as Miss Peregrine for this Halloween. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!